Phoenix is a dry heat, the kind that melts a $300 steering wheel before your K-Cup finishes brewing. Stick around, because if you think that is the worst surprise awaiting new arrivals, I've got a few more that never make the brochures. So 2 electric companies run this town. We have APS and SRP. Which one you will be using will depend on where you end up living. On APS's Saver Choice plan, you'll pay 8 cents a kilowatt at 10 a.m. and 28 cents at 5 p.m. Forget a single load of laundry during those peak hours, and that can be a $20 mistake. If you are on SRP, a little hack for you is to let them throttle your thermostat for 4 afternoons each summer. Then they'll mail you a $50 Visa card and slice about 12% off of August. With both companies, you will have the option to either pay as you go or go with one of their optimized plans, which would mean that then you would pay the same amount every single month. I personally don't choose to pay one of those optimized plans because I kind of like paying a really small bill in the wintertime, and in the summertime I just know I'm going to pay more. I'm not really sure if that's the smartest way to go, but I feel better knowing that I'm paying for what I'm actually using, rather than just having them give me a flat fee every single month. And I really like paying those small bills in the winter.
Saving money.
You will also have times of the day, like in the APS example, where the rate is a lot lower. So if you can utilize your electric appliances and all of the things that run on electric during those times, you can really do a lot of savings. Now, one of the questions I am asked all the time when it comes to the electric bill is it more expensive to heat and cool a 2-story home? And yes, you will use your heater in the wintertime here in Arizona. It won't be like you use your air conditioning unit, but you will use your heat. Now, many places that you look to try to find out if it's gonna cost you more money, they're automatically gonna say, yes, it's gonna cost more money. But I think you have to take a couple other things into consideration. If you have a 2-story house with only 1 air conditioning unit, yes, that air conditioning unit is going to have to work a little bit harder to heat and cool the entire home, especially with those vaulted ceiling areas. But on many 2-story homes, if the size gets a little bit bigger, say even at 24 to 2,500 square feet, you're probably gonna have at least 2 units on the home. Because of that, you're gonna have 2 thermostats, probably 1 upstairs and 1 downstairs. I think this allows the home to work a lot more efficiently. So yes, if you have to replace those air conditioning units, it's going to be more expensive because you're not just replacing 1, but you're replacing 2. But while they're running, as long as they're more efficient, then I don't think it's gonna overall cost you an exorbitantly more amount of money to heat and cool a 2-story house. Overall, it's probably gonna cost you just a little bit more, but I'm not sure that it is so great that it is going to really affect everything. But if this is a concern of yours, this is a question you should be asking the sellers. You wanna be able to see what those bills look like so that you can be prepared. Now, a lot of newcomers moving to the Valley of the Sun think it is a great idea to automatically slap solar panels on your home, with the assumption you will have free power forever. Not so fast.
You are not a genius.
If you live in SRP territory, you are automatically dumped into a demand charge plan. That means 1 30-minute spike, let's say the AC, the oven, and the dryer all at one time at 6 p.m., sets a whole month surcharge. Bills can jump over $80, even while panels overproduce if this happens. If you are on APS territory, it looks a little nicer. No demand fee, but their net billing credits the extra power at 25 to 30% below what they sell it for. In 2024, they were buying it back at about 10 to 11 cents, while retail is at 14. And if you think that you're gonna put solar on your house for $10,000 to $15,000 and that this will cover your entire bill, that is incorrect. You will likely spend $30,000 if you want a system with enough panels on your house that will actually cover your entire electric bill. And if you are going to lease your solar system, which then has a monthly bill attached to it, and need to sell your home, good luck. Buyers have to qualify for the solar lease, which also plays into their debt to income ratio when you're looking at the overall loan process. And sometimes this can pose a big problem. Not to mention that buyers oftentimes don't want a $250 lease payment for solar, in addition to still having to pay another $250 for their electric bill. They look at me and they say, where's the savings in that? The reality is, solar is not as easy as many want to believe that it is, nor does it add the value to your home that most say it does. If you ask anyone here how long it takes to get just about anywhere, they will likely say about 30 minutes. If you look at Google Maps, it'll probably say 22 miles and it will be 29 minutes.
Sounds too good to be true.
Here's the reality check. The Phoenix metro area is big, and it will all depend on the time of day that you plan on traveling. Traveling from the west side to downtown at 5 o'clock you are going to hit some traffic, and it is going to take you a lot longer than 30 minutes. If you are heading from Scottsdale down towards Chandler at 5 o'clock, also going to take you a lot longer than 30 minutes. However, if you're heading from the west side towards Scottsdale, you're actually going to be going against traffic, so it's not going to be so bad. Can it take 30 minutes to get just about everywhere in the valley? Yes, but not everywhere. But even those places that take about 30 minutes, you have to consider if you're going to be traveling during heavy traffic times. But by no means can you get from North Peoria to Gilbert in 30 minutes. That is going to take you closer to about an hour. And that's with no traffic. Sometimes things here look really close on a map, but because the Phoenix area is so spread out, things can take a little longer to get to. Here in the Phoenix area, we have a few critters that live among us, and something that can make you very sick. We have the Arizona bark scorpion. If you really want to see them, go get a blacklight flashlight, go outside at night because they light up like a Christmas tree. And if you are really worried about them in your house, you can do the same thing. You can also have your house sealed so that it's a lot harder for any of these critters to get inside. And you can do a few other things as preventative maintenance to really make it difficult for anything to penetrate your house. Now, if you go on Google to check out about these bark scorpions, they will say that you need to check your bed every night before you get in. You need to shake your shoes before you put your feet in them every day, and a few other things. Here's what I can tell you. I've never done any of that. And knock on wood, I have never been stung. If you are going to live where there are a lot of citrus trees, namely the Arcadia area, you have to be aware of roof rats. Placing some bait stations around your house will be really helpful, as well as keeping your trees trimmed back away from your roof. One of the things that these pests are known for, besides getting into your roof, is also chewing on your car's wiring harness, which can be an expensive repair. So what's the thing that can make you really sick in the desert? Valley fever. This is a soil fungus, not a virus. Most people who contract valley fever experience no symptoms, or only mild flu-like symptoms that resolve on its own. However, some people might develop pneumonia or have symptoms that spread to other parts of their body. Here's what I'll say about this one, because I know some people have asked me, and it sounds really scary. I have lived here for over 25 years, and to my knowledge, I have never had it, and I spend a lot of time outside. I do, however, know a few people who have gotten it, and they were quite sick. I also have a few friends whose pets got it, and they had to be put on medication for the rest of their life. During the summer, we can see storms kick up, and we can get 90-mile-an-hour microbursts, or tiny tornadoes. These are very localized and do not travel like tornadoes. I do think one of these hit our house last year and knocked over a tree in our backyard, which then broke a gas line that ran to our barbecue. A call to the fire department, which then brought the gas company to our house. They searched everything, made sure all was good, capped the gas on the outside of our house, and all was good. But then we had to have the gas line redone. It was a pain, and it did cost some money, but no one was hurt. In fact, we were in the house putting our kids to bed, and we didn't even know it happened. Then we have our monsoon season, which technically starts on June 15th and goes through September 30th, which I never really understood the exact dates on this because it's Mother Nature and she's not predictable. But this is about the time that you can expect to see some monsoons pop up. And when they do, they can be quite impressive. We normally start to see those big white puffy clouds start to accumulate in the sky, which are really pretty, but they hold a lot of water. This is also when our humidity starts to increase. Now, I say this as someone that has never lived in an extremely humid environment. 10 to 15% humidity is pretty high for me. The thing with our monsoons is it doesn't always mean rain. Sometimes it's just blowing dust, and a lot of it. We can see a wall of dust blow across the desert floor and get no rain at all, and that's considered a monsoon storm. Or we can get crazy rain and a fantastic lightning show, and that too is a monsoon storm. Now, if we get the rain, our temperatures can drop pretty drastically, which everyone loves. We can go from 115 to 85 to 90 really fast.
That's cold.
But the storms don't usually last that long, and when the storm is over, the heat comes right back up. And because of the rain, that's when our humidity really gets high. Again, as someone not from a humid climate, at these times, we can see our humidity around 60%. But because it gets so hot and it dries out quickly, that humidity does drop pretty rapidly again, but it stays more humid during this time of the year than we have in other times. So for those people that are coming from an extremely humid climate, for them, it still feels pretty dry. For someone like me, it can feel quite humid and a bit oppressive. Now I want to welcome you to Arizona's Vehicle License Tax, or VLT. This quiet little line item that floors every newcomer. Here's the math they never print on the pamphlet. Arizona taxes 60% of your car's original MSRP, then hits it at $2.80 per $100 of assessed value that first year. A $30,000 Corolla, $504, right out of the gate. The hit only falls 19.25% per year, so 2 years is still north of $435. On a lease or loan, you still pay the full VLT. There's no "but I don't own it" discount. Alternative fuel or EV owners, those used to have an $8 flat fee. In 2025, the legislature blew that up. Plan and a new $135 annual registration surcharge, just for being electric. That's before the regular VLT. And because Phoenix sits in an emission hot zone, most cars 5 years or older must pass a smog check before the MVD will even hand you tags. Hybrids still test, pure electrics don't. And if your car fails the test, you will have to make those repairs before you can get your tags. When you move here with your car, you will need to show up with these things: the title and registration application, an emissions compliance slip if you live or commute within the Maricopa County area, and your old title or registration, plus a $4 title fee, an $8 registration fee, a $1.50 air quality fee, plus the VLT that we just talked about. Bottom line, Arizona has cheap gas, but the license plate isn't. And this is not a place that you could get away with not having a car. If you want to see some of the top lies about Phoenix, you're gonna want to watch this video. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.